What's going on, everybody? For the New River Battalion, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Harrison, and you're watching Torched Ones. Today we're joined by two of our about-to-be in 18 very short day lieutenants that will graduate from our program on May 10th. Cadet Joseph Chellis, aka J. Chell, aka Chelly Dog, aka the Chelster, is from Springfield, Virginia, home of the infamous Springfield Interchange, where interstates 95, 395, and 495 merge coming out of our nation's capital. He is in Alpha Company in the Corps of Cadets and recently joined Ranger Company in Army ROTC, where he also has served all spring as our Battalion S4 or Logistics Officer. He will join the Transportation Corps shortly, has a career goal of being, quote, an awesome lieutenant, for which I commend you, Joe, and stalks the battlefield of Helldivers 2. Cadet Matthew Kinjo Mine was born in Bethesda, Maryland, but considers Woodbridge, Virginia to be home. Two Nova kids on the show today, watch out! He's in Mike Company in the Corps, and this semester he performed admirably as the Army RC Chief of Current Operations within the Battalion S3 shop. He also stated that the University of Virginia was his backup school. Beat the Wahoos and beat Navy. He will be an engineer officer, SAO, and both graduated high school brains and holds a blue gel in BJJ brawn. Well done, Matt.
Hey, chase the wolves.
Welcome to the show, fellas. Before we get started, what's your experience with spicy food?
I consider myself pretty well versed. The spiciest food I ever had was when I was overseas in Malaysia, very authentic Indian food, and I'm a two-time champion of the Sharky's 911 challenge.
Oh, really?
I'm excited for what we have here today.
I've heard a lot about that. Isn't that like 10 wings or some crazy number?
I believe it's 16 wings, under 10 minutes. It is the hottest thing I've ever had. I think you would be remiss if you didn't try it before you left Virginia Tech.
We will see. I don't like eating that much food, if I'm being honest with you, but I'm not scared of the spice, so we'll see what happens. What about you, Joe?
Let's see. I've been having hot sauce pretty much my whole life because my mom's Hispanic, so she always gives that to us, so we kind of down it a lot. Pretty much every night, put it on rice, chicken, everything. Hottest thing I've had is the chip, the one chip, the Sir had. It's terrible. I hope I never have it again, but yeah.
Can confirm. All right, well, why don't we start off with our first piece of protein. This is the Nash Soul Hot. It's think of it as like a really good gochujang. Enjoy.
It's kind of sweet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
These are naked tenders that I air fried on Sunday, so hopefully the protein's up to the quality you expect around here. All right, Joseph, Joe, Chelly Dog, Over Chellis, Joey Chelly, Chelster, Big Chell, must be like Little John, Joey C, Ranger Joe, and Netflix and Chell. What's with all the nicknames?
You got me, so every time I do something new or go someplace new, make some new friends, they always come up with a new nickname. Like Iraq Company, they just started calling me Joe Chell. I joined Alpha, they started calling me Chelly, and then my line company, Alpha Company, started calling me Chelly Belly. And then when I joined HHC, they started calling me Chelly Dog because Captain Jackson called me that for attendance in class. And I didn't even know what to say to that. And then when I joined Ranger, my whole assessment class started calling me Joey C. So I don't know, sir. They just keep trying to do something new with it.
Is that a new phase of your life, or was that happening your whole life?
I didn't notice it start to build every year. I would always get a new nickname per semester.
Interesting. All right, Matt, you spent 3 months in Malaysia as an English teacher for refugees, I assume Rohingya?
Mostly Rohingya.
Okay. Tell me how you ended up there, but most importantly, tell me about how renewing your passport went during that trip.
Well, the experience overall was probably one of the most important things that I've done in my life. It was kind of definitely informed my worldview tremendously. It was a lot of Rohingya, I would say about 50%, but there was a lot of other refugees from all across Southeast Asia. There were Sri Lankans, there were Thai, there were stateless Indonesians, and a lot of Rohingyans along with that. And they were fleeing all kinds of different hardship, whether that be economic or violent. So there was a real variety of people that I was interacting with over there.
And how did you know about that? Where did the opportunity come from? Why'd you end up there?
Well, I was graduating from community college in the fall semester, and I had an open semester before I started my time here at Virginia Tech. So I took a gap semester and was interested in doing some kind of overseas work. Particularly teaching English was interesting to me. And a close family friend of ours had a connection with a refugee school over there that works with the UNHCR. Malaysia is a transition state, so all of the refugees over there stay there for 10 years, but while they're there, they have legal status to reside there, but not to work or go to school or even get a driver's license. So a lot of them are caught kind of on their back foot when it comes time for them to transition to one of their final destinations, be it the US, Canada, or England. So many of them need that support from organizations that are willing to go over there and teach them for free.
Okay, so passport.
The passport thing. Well, I'm sure you know, sir, that in order to really travel anywhere in the world, you need to have 6 months of your expiration, 6 months back from your expiration of your passport. I didn't realize that. So when I left for Malaysia, I had about 7 months left. So there was no red flags, no issues with me getting into Malaysia. But as the time started ticking down, I became aware that it would be difficult for me to go anywhere else in Southeast Asia, which, given my situation at the time, was a necessity. And it would also be difficult to get back to the US. So while my passport wouldn't technically expire, I had to go get it renewed. So that involved me making multiple appointments and multiple many-hour trips to Kuala Lumpur, which is the capital, and having one of the most intimidating experiences of my life, which is going into an American embassy for a scheduled appointment. The security there is incredible, and multiple trips there and multiple days spent at Malaysian immigration. Later, had my new passport.
Okay.
Very stressful. Not something I would ever recommend to anyone.
Yeah.
Check the expiration on your passport before you travel.
I just had a renewed mind to go with Global Scholars this summer for the same thing. Yeah. All right, let's jump up a little bit. This is called Miso Hot. It's a miso, miso soup kind of based sauce. It's really good. Cheers. Digging this one?
I like those.
I like that one a lot more.
My daughter loves miso soup, but she doesn't like spicy stuff, so maybe one day she'll be down with this. Okay, Matt, going back to you. Apparently you had a very special relationship with the Spanish National Police, or at least one in particular. Inquisitive minds must know, what's the deal?
Oh, wow. Okay. I don't know how much you heard about this story leading up to it. Were you at all told where this story goes? Well, when I was studying abroad in Spain, I spent a couple days in Barcelona, and Barcelona parties pretty hard over there, and they party anywhere in Europe. They party until the wee hours of the morning, and I was out pretty late one night. I was definitely in my right mind. I was all right. I was in a group. We were taking safe precautions, but there was a road, and we needed to cross the road. And everyone in Barcelona, jaywalking is really a thing over there in Europe. So I decided to cross the road, and some of my friends were like, no, wait up, wait. And as we were crossing the road, I laughed back at my buddies, and there were some gestures, some words exchanged between me and my friends.
Some banter, if you will.
Banter. Between me and my friends. And it was just jokes as I was crossing the road. Little did I know that was misinterpreted by some of the cars coming down the road, and as I got to the side of the road, I just noticed a van pulling over and a lot of people getting out, and I went, oh, well, that's kind of weird, there's a lot of people getting out of that van. And before I knew it, my hands were behind my back, and the police were very unhappy with me, thinking that I had been making fun of them, insulting them, coming after them, and all I could say was, my Spanish was much worse than I was, lo siento, and they were kind of making fun of me. They took everything out of my pockets, they looked at it, and then my friends thought they were never going to see me again. I thought I was never going to make it back to the US, but before I knew it, a couple light hits to the head later, I was on my way, and very, very aware of what not to do when you're around the Spanish SWAT police. So, yeah, that was an embarrassing moment for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good times. Don't be the ugly American abroad.
Yeah.
Now, Joe, you recently read The Next War by John Antal.
Yes, it is.
What were
You
your
did, like, the
thoughts?
intellectual
I also read it
question.
too.
What were my thoughts? I thought it was a great read, sir. I've told you last time we talked about it, but a lot of it just flew right over my head, especially with all the weapon system it talked about. But I thought it was pretty crazy how it talked about the importance of first strike, because one of the most important things in future warfare is technological capabilities. For instance, like air defense is going to become more important because you see the Iron Dome. It's just so valuable to Israel and its protection. But more importantly, is just like if it gets taken out, then they're completely defenseless, and that first attack will just destroy them. And it talked about a lot of other things that are super important, like logistics. Like how are we going to even manage to be able to do it if people can simply track an iPhone, they're starting to be able to track sound and movement with drones now. And so trying to mask your own units is becoming more difficult. So they're taking technology out of the fight is becoming an essential part of how to essentially fight at all. So they broke down a lot of the fighting in Russia and Ukraine, and they brought in some other stuff that was pretty enlightening from my perspective. I'm pretty eye-opening for the most part.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway, I think Antal did a good job of describing how innovation is really important in warfare, right? But technology itself is not decisive, it's how we use it. So once you understand how the battlefield is going to be more lethal, you have to understand how you can hide within what's available. You got to maneuver not only on ground, but like you just mentioned, right, across spectrums where you maybe haven't spent a lot of time thinking about how loud we are. And definitely wondering how loud you are in the EM spectrum in particular, how much noise you're making that they can sense through electronics. Yeah, good stuff. Anything you guys want to talk about before we jump up?
No, I'm ready to go.
I got a question, sir. You spent some time in the 82nd Airborne.
I did.
I apparently am going
America's Guard of Honor. No big deal.
Apparently I am now going to be heading there in February after I finish bullet. So I was wondering if there was any tips that you'd like to share.
Absolutely. So the op tempo of the 82nd, like a lot of the light divisions, but their in particular is very high because they have a unique mission set, right? They're one of, now there's 2 airborne divisions, but really they're the only one with more than one airborne brigade combat team. And they're always on the hook to provide immediate response force support. So at any given point, there are soldiers that are 6, 12, 24 hours away from being activated to go anywhere in the world and deal with problems. Example, the non-combatant evacuation operation in Kabul, Afghanistan. Sergeant Brown was there on the ground. He was one of our instructors at Radford, right? He was part of that response. So you gotta show up ready. And we tell you guys that all the time, but legitimately, you gotta show up ready. You'll have to do some very detailed planning as a logistician to understand how you can create operational reach, the ability to project combat power forward, because that's really what your role is how do you bring all the things together to enable accomplishment of the mission, generally by those maneuver forces, but they're not going to get there without your support. I know you can run, so that's one of the biggest things people
I
have
was
to
told
be able
about
to
that
do.
yesterday.
Do not walk on Ardennes.
That's literally what I was told.
It will be a very bad time for you. And just embrace the opportunities that are there while you're there. Some of the most elite, intelligent, and capable logisticians in the world are there, both within 82nd and 18th Airborne Corps, but also with all the soft formations that are there. So work on being the best version of yourself, which I know you're gonna do, but networking is really important, and demonstrating to other people that you have the ability to do what they need you to do. It's gonna set your career up from the beginning.
What is that, sir?
True for you, Matt, just not necessarily in the same space.
We'll see where I end up. I'm excited for where that is, but
It'll be any day now, man.
no, I'm probably not finding out till halfway through bullet, probably August time. Yeah, that's what I'm expecting anyway.
We'll see.
I'm excited.
All right. The next guy is Cosmic Disco. This is where it starts to get a little real. I remember the first time we tried this sauce in 3-shop last year, and I was like, don't let this one sleep on you. Enjoy. Chelster, what are you feeling?
It tastes sweet to start. It's starting to kick in now, though. Yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Reminds me of Scotch bonnet. I don't know if you've ever had that, but it kind of has a similar flavor profile to that.
Yeah, Scotch bonnet is a very common pepper when it comes, especially to Jamaican food. So, actually, my buddy Gus Paul, his mother is from Kingston, Jamaica, and she gave us her jerk chicken recipe. So while I was at JRTC, we perfected our ability to make it.
At JRTC.
While we were both there as OCs. So in between rotations, we do it, on the grill. And I think the key to success was 1, use real peppers to make your own sauce, and 2, cook it in the oven, finish it on the grill. Get the best of both worlds. So, Joe, your mom was gracious enough to share a video with us.
I'm glad I have the hot sauce.
Would you mind explaining what's going on here?
So basically, in this video, it's a video of me dancing in Peru with this Peruvian, I don't even know how to describe, like a cultural dancer doing cultural Peruvian dances. But basically, it was the last day we were in Peru about 2 summers ago, visiting my family over there. And so basically, my family has some apparently very wealthy friends, and I didn't know this because when we got there, all of a sudden there was this nice huge party. There were dancers. There was there's a whole band there, a delightful singer, and of course pisco. If anyone goes to Peru, excellent drink. But basically what happened is my aunts and my cousins and my uncles, they kind of like, oh, somebody should go dance, and they kind of pushed me in there because I was, the youngest of my family. And I could speak so little Spanish, unfortunately. trying to fix it. And so I got stuck in there, and she fake smacked her partner, and they threw me in there, and I took a hat and I just started dancing to the music with some dancer. So it was a good time.
Now he looked like he took a little offense at the end there when you were giving his hat. What was that all about?
So they were putting on this whole show of basically like this guy that kind of like cheats on his girl, and his girl like doesn't come back to him. And they pulled me into it. So yeah, that's kind of an embarrassing one. I'm glad the hot sauce is on. Hopefully that's the real reason I'm red right now. Yeah.
A little bit of dance theater. All right. Matt, tell us all about the infamous Independence Day midnight Roman candle incident.
Wow. There's some deep cuts here. Well, I mean, this one is just chalked up to listening to your parents. It was 4th of July, I think, after this was in high school, and had all my friends over for the 4th, and we were celebrating together. Had a good amount of fireworks, and not all of them were ones that you could acquire in Virginia, but we had a good collection. We were excited to use them. And at one point my parents turn in and my dad gives me one stipulation, which my parents are super relaxed, they're super easygoing. They said one stipulation was no fireworks after 10 o'clock. As the night progressed, we got a little bored, it was getting later, and we were thinking, we still have a lot of fireworks left. Why don't we just light off one more? We don't have a ton of Roman candles, it's kind of a fun thing, it's 4th of July, no one will notice. Well, a couple of my friends went out to the backyard. This was an idea that was endorsed by me, I'll own that. And we lit up a Roman candle. And before I knew it, it was firing off in the backyard. And what I didn't realize was that as each fireball went up into the sky, it was illuminating my parents' bedroom entirely. The one rule was no fireworks after 10.
Oh god.
And next thing I know, we hear a window open upstairs and we all look up, and my dad is livid. He does not get angry ever, and this was the most upset we've ever heard him. And he gets angry so rarely that me and my best friends swear that we heard him drop some expletives, but it sounded like they were censored in our mind. That's how weird it was to hear him say that. And the worst part was as they opened the window and they started to yell at us, the Roman candle wasn't finished. So it was continuing to fire off for another 3 or 4 shots as my parents were just there in awe, and we're all staring up knowing that we messed up big time.
Whoopsie daisies.
Yep.
Follow the rules, ladies and gents. Key tip for life. All right, we're gonna bring back Explain That Graham, where I show you a picture that's been provided by you or someone else, and you tell us what's going on. You ready?
Alright, yes, sir.
Joe. Who are these peeps?
Those are my brother and sister. Obviously, you can go from height order. My brother is the tallest, sister is the middle, and then I'm the youngest, being the smallest. I was just visiting family once again in Peru, and I was like 3 years old or something like that with the bowl cut. Being as pale as ever. But yeah, we've been visiting family there too. And my brother, he's a data analyst for a government contractor. He's 4 years older than me. My sister, unfortunately, is at UVA. I know. It's darn shame, but she's in her second year of law school, even though she's only a year older than me somehow. So she's the smarty pants, took my brain and my brother's when she was born. But I'm doing this now, so we've kind of taken different directions, but I love both of them.
What was this?
Oh gosh. Chicken wing.
I want to read this to everyone, alright? They'll see the picture. But Recipe for Meat by Joe Chellis. My mom makes meat, all the meat. First she puts it in a big burning bowl for cooking. You put water on it, you eat it. And then I'm guessing like kindergarten, the chicken wing, mom getting her fat chicken wings.
Yeah, that was definitely the 3-year-old photos. Dang, she really dug those things up. Oh gosh. Yeah. So I have never been a great artist, clearly, ever since I was young. Glad I stopped very quickly. But yeah, no, I was me trying to draw something I think for Mother's Day. And I think I was thinking of like, man, what's something that I really enjoy from my mom? And I was like, oh, she cooks like all this great food. What's the food I like the most? Meat. So I put her in this terrible drawing. Does not a very good drawing of my mother. Not a very good drawing of my mother at all. And for some reason I wrote that.
But she still got it, bud. So you probably did something right.
Yeah, no, she kept that all. I think it's for reasons like today is why she kept them.
Thank you, Mrs. Chellis. Finally, what's this all about?
Oh, this is the day we got rained on. This is like one of the second days. Cam Spinoza was supposed to do push-ups on the push-up board at that football game. It was me and a bunch of my buddies from my core company. We're getting absolutely drenched. It was
Purdue game?
yeah, the one where it got rained out. The stands were starting to get flooded. We were in the front row and the water was all the way like starting to climb up our ankles. And at that point, we all just accepted the fact that our uniforms were completely destroyed. And so we were just enjoying it, man. Covers off, all gonna catch mold or something. We're like, we'll toss it later, so we'll just enjoy the moment.
Absolutely. I worked with an Australian when I was at JHC. He was an OC with us, and he said something one day which I've never forgotten. Skin's waterproof. Just deal with it. All right, Matt. What's this all about, Big Cat?
Oh man, that's me getting the Avatar arrow carved into my head days before I came here to Virginia Tech. Right before the start of New Cadet Week, I figured, actually I don't even know if that was my idea. It might have just been my mom who was doing that. And that picture has lived on and haunted me ever since. That was in that moment. One last little note of personality before I had to come here for New Cadet Week.
I dyed my hair blue for the state wrestling tournament spring of my senior year because I knew it was all going to be gone soon.
Yep.
And then I bleached it out when it started turning to like green because it was ugly. I feel you. Tell me about this.
Oh, okay. That was this past spring break. That's me and Josh Yoon and Matt Owen on top of Mount Fuego, which is an active volcano in Guatemala. It erupts every 15 to 20 minutes if you're lucky, and there's it's just one of the most miraculous things you'll ever see. It's a 2-day climb up there, and very, very steep in elevation. You end up going about 12,000 feet up, and you get to stay there. We stayed there overnight. We pretty much kind of camped out there on the side of an adjacent mountain, and we were able to just watch it erupt all night. It was like truly one of those moments where you look at the majesty of nature and you're just speechless, just completely blown away. Matt Owen fell asleep up there though. We were watching the volcano explode or erupt over and over again. It was beautiful, it was crazy. Me and Josh are just like completely floored. And I look over to my right and Matt Owen is dead asleep on the ground.
Very on brand, man. Very on brand. All right. This might have been the same day we were just talking
That
about.
was the exact same day. That was the day of the Purdue game. You know, I've talked to some of the other cadets, and they've told me that that was one of the worst days because there was a whole evacuation. There was a whole thing that skipper crew wasn't a part of. We had a great time in the rain. It started pouring, and we were inside the practice field house, and it slowly started getting filled up by more and more just confused and soaking wet people. And then slowly the building started to flood, and people started just like, there were giant like flash mobs that were breaking out, and it hits a point where everyone's so wet that it doesn't really matter. It was one of the most chaotic days here in the Corps for sure, but also one of the most like fun for me.
I was actually there also. I was up in the stands. Unfortunately, that was the game I brought the wife and kids to, and my dad, stepmom, and the children were not pleased. All right, guys, here we go. This is Taco Vibes only. Don't let the name fool you. This punches above its weight.
I feel like this is where it gets real.
You're getting sleepy eyes. I don't know if that's because you're feeling the heat or if you're...
Am I really getting
little
sleepy
bit.
eyes?
It's all good.
I think in terms of flavor, I like the last one better for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for this one to kick in, sir.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
So, Matt, tell me what 22 by 22 means to you.
Oh, 22 by 22. Oh.
That is
That
what I
is-
said, yes.
Yeah. Sorry, that took a second. So one of my own personal goals in life is I want to go to a different country for the age that I am. So for me, I've been to 22 countries. I'm 22 years old, and I'd love to go to more at a faster rate. But you know, thinking about real life happening soon, I think the opportunities are going to be a lot less scarce. But something I think that I can hold myself to is maintaining that one country for every year I am, getting out of the country at least once a year, go seeing a new place, seeing somewhere outside the U.S., getting outside of that bubble, even just for a little bit of time. Something that I want to try to maintain for myself.
Okay, cool. Good for you, man. I've done a little bit of travel, but I think between the two of you, you've traveled certainly a lot more than your peer group. Well done. Now, Joe, you graciously share a Peruvian hot sauce with us that I understand is a family favorite.
Yes, sir.
Delicious for the record. You are also internationally very well traveled, especially when you think about the average person walking around this campus or around the United States. What did you find the same, and maybe you want to chime in on this too, in all these places you visited, but what was different that stuck with you after you left?
What did I find the same? Like the same as in the U.S. or?
All the countries you visited.
Honestly, the thing I found the same was two things. McDonald's. There's always a McDonald's nearby. And the other thing I found was that a lot of them actually have a lot more respect for the U.S. than I thought. Like, they'll always see the tourists and like, those are the U.S. guys, you know, they'll either be very kind to you or they're gonna want your money. So it's a little bit of, you know, that kind of goes hand in hand. But there's actually a staggering amount of respect for the country and the people that come there. And I'm always like flabbergasted by. Like they'll treat you a lot nicer. Maybe it's because they want your money, but at the same time, you know, there's also a lot of good people there. They'll treat you really nice. I remember in Italy, I made friends with this guy, this food stand guy. He'd like, I got the golden cola for you, and I'm like, thanks, man. And I always get it. And he like always have it there whenever we like come by that week. And I was like, these guys are trying to get to know me, and I was really surprised by that. You know, what was very different. The food was very different, but also like the main places of culture, like Lima, Peru, very different, and Peru in general, very different from like Europe, right? Like Italy, like the hub of Italy has got to be like the Vatican and everything there. Like somehow everything, all the roads did end up leading us back to Rome somehow. Like we got lost, which happened quite a lot, mainly because of my sister's fault. But we'd always somehow end up back at the Vatican. But when you go to like Lima, Peru, like you stay in Lima because there's some cities you just don't go to at night. Like the difference in like caution changes completely. my cousins would caution us, like, don't pull out your phones. It's gonna get snatched by someone driving a motorcycle, you know. Don't stay out in these cities, because there will be gunfights all the time. Like, when it's time, and I've even seen my cousins, they'll be like, we don't ever tell a taxi driver where we live. We have them drop us off at a gas station, and we walk up from there.
Interesting. I think McDonald's in Japan, #1 McDonald's in the world, in my opinion. And it's funny you bring up food, because I would say wherever I've been, I've always found that food brings people together, and it's often what people want to share with you the most. It's like, hey, we do this thing really well. Try this food, which I like food, so that's always fun.
I'm really excited to see how this is gonna kick.
I kind of want to put a little extra on it.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, gentlemen, it is customary around here to put a little something extra on. You don't have to. I won't judge you, but some people will. This is, after all, the last dab. As much or as little as you feel like.
Oop, that's a lot.
Bold dab, ladies and gents.
That's a lot.
Okay, hey, you made it to the top of Mount Scoville. Well done. Hottest natural sauce in the world. Cheers, double hua.
Cheers.
Godspeed. Best of luck.
No, that's so much sauce in it. Dang, that's not spicy yet. It's already got me concerned.
Well, Joe, as the last dab fights to overwhelm our psychosomatic system, you executed what I can only describe as a very bold move to assess for Ranger Company during the spring semester of your senior year while serving as a primary staff officer, and a pretty demanding job at that. Why'd you do it?
So, sir, really, I mean, part of it was because of my cadre, to keep pushing myself. You and yourself and Captain Speedy encouraging us to keep pushing ourselves. Captain Speedy especially driving a lot of us to go out for Ranger School. And I kind of realized junior year I wasn't pushing myself as much as I could have. And I was like, I need to catch up, because I noticed peers like this guy right here, you know, going out for things, pushing themselves. And I was like, why am I not? And I realized at the end of like junior year, I'm hitting a similar PT score to some of these guys at Ranger Company. I'm like, what's stopping me from doing the thing that like guys like Gray Barker told me to do freshman year? Like Devin Liebel did. Thanks for kicking it.
Yeah.
And then I get to CST, I go to CTLT, and I just see everyone wearing that tab is holding this level of competency that's just staggeringly above their peers. And I was like, I want that competency for my soldiers. They deserve more. And so I started changing. It started like, it wasn't like, why am I pushing myself? Like for myself, it was like, why am I pushing myself for others? I was like, there's nothing preventing me from going out. So I went out for Ranger Challenge, got cut, I'll admit it, you know, realized I was too darn slow. So I spent the entire like fall semester running and running and running. So I could lower that 5-mile time. Got it down to 36, 37. I was like, I'm just kept on trucking. Nothing was certain at all, like during assessment. But I learned so much. You found out as well as I did, I'm not a great swimmer. So every Sunday night, head into the pool now, but I want that competency for my soldiers. I know I'm not combat arms, but they deserve more, so.
Absolutely, man. Hey, Ranger School's a leadership school, right? Like you said, it's not about you, it's about other people and what you're able to provide them. So good for you, man. I'll state for the record, he didn't miss a training meeting despite doing assessment all spring, showing up to brief everything. So well done.
Thanks, sir.
All right, Matt, you got to finish the fight. Tell us why you are a Spanish major.
You know, it's just funny. I had to explain this yesterday in Spanish, because it's been a long and arduous journey being Spanish. I originally, when I got out of high school, I thought, you know, I did Latin in high school, which is, you know, a waste of time, kind of a check in the box thing.
It's the only language I wish I'd studied for the record.
Well, I'm pretty deep in Spanish now, and I don't see how Latin has helped me at all. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I didn't. I could have left a lot on the table with Latin. But went to community college and dragged my feet through 2 years of Spanish there. And I was just praying for the day that my last Spanish class was over. I'm not talented in foreign languages. I don't particularly enjoy the classes. And then I got here at Virginia Tech. Thought I was done. I look at my major requirements for national security and foreign affairs and realize oh man, I have to do another 2 years. And so, put my head down, I grinded through those. Didn't really learn much because half of that was during COVID, and learning a foreign language online this is not a great way to learn. So, as time went on though, I started to develop an appreciation for the language, but not the classes. And once I finished the major requirements, I realized that, oh wow, like I've come pretty far with this, and I'd like to continue. I'd like to know the language, but I just don't want to take any classes. But I bit the bullet, and I ended up adding it as a major. And so here in, maybe 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be graduating with a Bachelor's of Arts in Spanish. I'm still not fluent. I'm not great at it, but it is something that will be a lifelong journey for me, and I really want to be able to achieve fluency someday.
Good for you, leaning in, man. Gents, you did it. You made it all the way to the top of the mountain. This camera, this camera, this camera. Tell the people what you got going on in your life.
Well, after I graduate here in 2 weeks, I'm going to be heading off to Fort Leonard Wood for Engineer Bullock, starting May 21st is when I leave. I'll be there until October 25th. From there, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see where the Army sends me.
Yeah, for me, I'll be going to CSC. I'll see anyone that's going to 3rd Reg there. I'll leave May 28th. Then I got Bullock September 15th for transportation, so I'll be heading back to Virginia for a few more months, and then after that, February 24th, I'll be going to Fort Liberty. So look forward to jump with the Red Devils, man.
Airborne all the way. Hope you guys enjoyed it. River Forge.